Hello everyone, good morning. Can you hear me? Can people hear me? I will ask to the moderator if he can hear me. Moderator, can you hear me? Okay then. Then people, hello. One more live stream for the course of the Starseeds Fellowship that before was called Alien, but now is Starseeds Fellowship. I'm so happy to be here in the second live stream. So we have in total 6 live streams in our course to solve our queries, to talk deeply about the content of the course. So I'm here available for you to solve all these queries and talk more about the course content. So now is a great day today because it's July 25. That is the day out of the time according to the Mayan Indians. So according to the Mayan civilization, they consider the July 25 as a day out of the time. So they don't count actually this day in their calendar, but it's a day where we will be synchronizing our whole time of the next year. So actually tomorrow will be the first day of the new year, that is the blue lunar storm, and it will be a surprising year for us because as the name itself says, a blue lunar storm, it will be a year a little chaotic because it will be actually with the energy of the storm. So we will have a lot of changes, a lot of revolution in the society. We can clearly see now the changes that is happening in the society, and the tendency is to be worse. I mean, to be strong. This is what I mean, not worse, but strong. So this is a interesting new year for us in the humanity because we will live strongly these changes in the society with all these things that right now we are seeing, that people is awakening, people is questioning more their the state, the how we organize in the society. They're questioning more the control, the structure of controlling, like the presidents, the government, the health system. They are questioning more. So this is a stage where people is awakening, and this is really, really positive for us as a humanity. So it's amazing because it's a sacred day for us, and it's a day that, as I told before, it's not counted in the calendar, but it's a sacred day because it synchronizes the rest of the year. So this is a day now for forgiving, for to have this to achieve this communion, this connection with the universe. As you see, the Mayans, they were having communication with the universe. They were even understanding that we have a black hole that is for them like the center of everything. Is, if you can see in our westernized culture, is like the god for them, but they were not considered as a properly as a god as we see now in our westernized view what is a god. But they were understanding that this black hole was the main thing in this universe that synchronizes the whole movement of the stars and the galaxies, and they knew all this knowledge. So they have great knowledge about the universe, about the stars, about the cosmos, and so they are a wisdom culture that knows how to synchronize with the nature, with the entire universe. So it's a special day for this civilization, and we hope this day will bring a lot of positive energies for the rest of our year until 2021. That will be another new year for the Mayans. Well, in this live stream, my intention is to talk about the alien races as it appears in the beginning with the 3 different races that I put it there, but actually it's a lot more. And I want to talk about the alien races, the different kind of alien races, the positive, the negative, according to the Quero Indian Incas, because they are also another wisdom society, another wisdom civilization, and they have an interesting point of view that actually synchronizes with another points of views, like the Sumerian tablets. As you can see, the Zakaria Sitchin, that was a scientist, he was talking about the Sumerian tablets, about the different races of the humanity that were coming to the earth and conquering the earth by to extract minerals and another type of extractions. They were using the natural sources of the earth for their own benefits. And he mentions, Zacharias Sitchin mentions the reptilian races also. He mentions a lot of species of races, and some were positive, some another were negative. So this is what he actually mentions. Well, according to the Quero Indians that are located in Peru, so as you can see, Sumeria in Asia and the Quero Indians in Peru. So 2 different cultures, very far away one to each other, but still is a lot of important synchronizations between both points of view. So you can wonder how they got into that similar point, and this is what I want to talk about. Well, according to the Quero Indians, that are the descendants directly from the Incas, they talk about a first race that is called Chulpas. This first race they consider as androgyne race. So androgyne means they are not either woman or men. They are not classified as this polarized gender. So it's not either woman or men. They are both in one. So they have this control, this mind control of reproducing by their own will. So they didn't need another person to get this reproduction. They did by their own, and they were very connected to this creation energy. So mainly they created through the mind. They had this connection with the universe. So these race Chulpas, they were living in a great way in the earth, and another race appeared in the planet that is called the Viracochas. The Viracochas, they come with the ships, with the flying ships, and they are characterized to be more. The skin of them is gold, and their skin is bright, so they look like a sun. So that is why they received this name, because Viracocha means the sons of the sun. And they were kind of gods and goddess that has a lot of technology. Their creation were more through technology than through the mental skills. And they got in many deals with the Chulpas, because the Chulpas actually were their autochthon race of the earth, and the Viracochas, they had some interest in the planet to extract minerals, to extract natural sources, and they needed to get into a deal with the Chulpas, and they actually got a great friendship with them. So since the Viracocha has more technology, they also were manipulated the DNA. They were great scientists, and they manipulated the DNA. So what the Viracochas offered to the Chulpas, to that first race that was androgyne, was the division between the genders, so they can either decide if they want to be man or woman. And the Chulpas, they wanted to experience this polarity, this duality. So they accepted the deal, and they started being polarized in the gender. And they got in that Grace deals with them. They were living in a peace, in harmony with the Viracocha. But then a third race appeared, that is the Saharas. And the Inca Indians, they mentioned that the Saharas are like more reptilian appearance. So their faces were like reptilians, and they were like the skin was like a reptile. And the thing is that this the third race, that is the Saharas, they were a little more harsh, and a little, the race was harsh, so they wasn't getting into nice deals with the Chulpas and the Viracochas, but they were more like in a survival mode. So since they were moved by the survival mode, they wasn't that friendly. And Viracocha, as the Chulpa, as the Saharas, they had great technology also. So the Saharas, they were also manipulated the DNA of the races, and they had that great technology. So they also knew how to get power through the technology. And what happens is that these reptilians that are called Saharas, they got into problems with the Chulpas because they didn't get to deals, they didn't get a good relationship, so they started being more enemies. So after a while, they start making wars. And what happens is that the Saharas, they wanted to manipulate and to get the power of the earth through the creation of new races. So what they were doing is, in the laboratory, they were starting making different mixtures because they had a bank of DNA. So in this bank of DNA, they have plenty of DNA races, not only from the earth that were already in the earth, but from the other places. So what they started to do is to manipulate this bank DNA to create new beings. So, for an example, one of these beings that they created was the Grace, that is the small aliens with big head. So this is one of the example, and it was always with the intention that these new races start serving to the Saharas, so as a kind of slaves, or serving to servers to them. So the Saharas started manipulating and creating different DNA codifications until they get into the human DNA codification. So actually, they got into a point that they created us, according to the Quero Indians. So if everything is as the Quero Indian says, we come from the experimentation of the Saharas. And since we are a mixture of the different races, different DNA races, we have the powers, the abilities of these different races. So what we start to have is like we start to have our own will, our own freedom, and we wanted that. So the human race also was a kind of getting independent from the Saharas, and they wanted to make their own colonies, they wanted to have their own power, and with a lot of abilities from the other from the ancestors of these races, we had a lot of technology also and knowledge, and mainly we were starting using for the bad, for the war, for the control, and for the bad. So what happens, according to the Quero Indians, is that especially the Saharas and the Chulpas, they started to have this bad relationship. They started to be enemies, and they started the world war. So they got into that problem that they were using high technology to destroy each other. this technology like the atomic bombs and this kind of advanced weapons. So even we can see in the in Asia that the Dead Sea, it has it has proof that has radiation inside this sea. That's why they call it the Dead Sea, as I remember. And I'm not completely sure that the correct name in English is that, but I think it's the Dead Sea because it doesn't have any living being there, and it's just water without any living being. And they have been proven that it's inside this water there is radiation, and we wonder how these radiations come from. We see also with the Vimanas in India that they say they were great war weapons. So we know we have these proofs from the old civilizations that they already had this technology to make great world wars and destroy a lot of people with that. So this is how they started making this war, destroying each other between Shahras and Chulpas. And what happens is that at this moment we had a hydrogen layer in the planet. So it was the planet and it was the hydrogen layer. So this hydrogen layer, it was full of clouds and it was protecting us from the UV rays from the sun. So it was that makes protection to the skin of the chulpas because they were intolerant with the sun rays. So once the Shahras they figured out that the chulpas needed this hydrogen layer to survive, what they did was destroying this layer of hydrogen in order to kill most of that chulpas. So through their technology, the Shahras they start collapsing this hydrogen layer, and all this water that was condensed in that atmosphere, it falls in the planet. I'm sorry if there is some noise outside, but the neighbors are with the cars driving and with the motorcycle, so I apologize for that. So what happens is that they start getting into that problem of collapsing the hydrogen layer, and all the water was falling into the earth. So that is how we know in the Bible as the universal flood. So you see that many civilizations also mention that universal flood, not only the Bible, but many other civilizations, Asian civilizations, they were mentioning that it was falling a lot of water in the earth and killing most of their inhabitants. And according to the Kero Indians, it happens because of the Shahras wanting to destroy the Chulpas by that way, because then the Chulpas will be killed through the UV of the sun ray. So once it happens, the Chulpas they needed to take rescue in the intra-Earth cities, because there were also intra-Earth cities in the planet. So there is cities inside the planet where we live, like there are humanities also there and different alien races there, and they live inside the Earth just because they needed to be protected against the UV rays from the sun. So what happens is that once they move to the intra-Earth cities to be safe, they lose the control and the power over the surface of the Earth. So this is how the Shahras kind of won in somehow the war. But also the humans, they were starting developing their own technology and taking control over places and exploring the natural sources also. So it was a mess and it was a chaos in the planet. So after a while, it was starting being a threat also for the universe, because we were having all this technology, manipulating all these the DNAs, the living beings, and the nature, that we were representing also a threat for the entire universe. So what happens is that after a while, it appears a cosmic council that the races, they were making a reunion in the star of Sirius. So the wisdom races, the races that are responsible for the harmony in the planet, and not only for the planet but for the entire universe, that races that are the guardians and the protectors, they saw and then figure out that it cannot be happen more this kind of problems in the air, because we will destroy ourselves and our neighbors. So what these cosmic races they did was making a reunion in the star of Sirius, that is the brightest star in the sky when you see in the night. And what they did as a fellowship of the universe, they tried to figure out what's the best for all this, to fix all this mess. So what they did was actually to remove the power of manifestation in the third dimension to the chakras. So right now we are in a third dimension. That's why we manifest. That's why you can see me on camera. That's why I can see other people. I can touch. The third dimension. And the chakras, they had the power of manifestation in the third dimension. What happens after this cosmic reunion is that what they figure out is to remove this power of the chakras to manifestate in the third dimension, and they can only manifestate from the fourth dimension and so on, the fourth, fifth, sixth, but not in the third. So they also lose a lot of power in the surface of the earth by doing that. So what they figure out to try to control, to keep their control and their power, is actually operate through us, that we start manifesting in the third dimension. So they got more this mental control. So instead of all this technology that they were using to control, now they are trying to control through the mind. That's why they create all these chaotic problems with people that you see they are kind of behaving like vampires, and problems like in the government, people killing each other, like pedos and all this kind of crazy people. They're being controlled by the chakras to create all this suffering, because this is how they get fed. Anyway, so what happens about the chulpas, they were removed and they needed to get protection in the intra-earth. The Viracochas, they also moved from this earth because they were more wisdom and they understand that they couldn't intervene in all this process, so they are a kind of guardians of all of us also, but they are not having a lot of intervention here because they figure out that it's not possible to intervene. And the chakras were losing this power of manifest in the third dimension. So after this cosmic council, what happens is that the cosmic fellowship, they figure out that the humanity, some of them were behaving good, and some of them were behaving in a wrong way, using their powers to have the control and to behave in a wrong way. So what they figure out is they had to deactivate from us our DNA strands, so we no longer have these psychic powers to manifest things that are mostly for the grown, for the bad things that humanity was doing in that time. And by losing the memory, by feeling alone, by not remembering who we are, and not remember our alien ancestors, our ancestral power, our ancestral abilities, so not remembering about anything and just behaving like almost like an animal, just to eat and to work and that so on. So after a while, what this cosmic fellowship they want from us is from ourselves to recover this memory, from ourselves, not through the intervention of others that sometimes can be helpful, but mainly from ourselves. This leap, this consciousness leap needs to happen, that we figure out from ourselves that we have this power, this inner power, that we can heal ourselves, that we can heal each others. So by figuring out these abilities inside us, we start reactivating the DNA strands. So when we reactivate the DNA strands, it doesn't mean that instead of 2 arms I will have 4, or instead of this color skin I will have blue skin. It doesn't mean that I will have physical changes in my body. But reactivated the DNA strands means I will get slowly the psychic powers, such as the telepathy, such as the astral travels, such as the communicated between other dimensions. So this is more a subtle power than a physical power itself. Then I will not develop 2 arms more or something like this, but it's more about the subtle power that we will be incorporating in ourselves. So that is why we have this course of the Alien Fellowship, actually, because I mean, there are a lot of civilizations that had almost the same point of view about the humanity, how the humanity grow, how will be the next conscious leap of the humanity, such as the Mayans also talk similarities. So this is what we believe in our school, that we trust in humanity, we trust in ourselves, and we believe we can do this consciousness leap by ourselves, and that we have this power, this inner power, these inner abilities. And this is actually what we want in these 6 months. So this is a slowly process. It's really slow because it cannot be from one day to other. We need to work slowly by activating chakra by chakra. So what happens actually is that we have an energetic field that if you develop the spiritual vision, you can see actually the aura of the people, the color of the aura of the people. You can feel and actually see their chakras. Then you figure out that it's not only 7 main chakras as we have always been here, but there is a lot of chakras, like almost 1,000 chakras. With the main chakras and the mini chakras, we have almost 1,000 chakras there. But there are actually 12 main chakras that are related to the 12 DNA strands that we need to reactivate. So the secret in this part is what we call as alien codes. That is a code that we have to get in connection with this energy field and to reactivate the correspondent DNA strand. So since we have the 12 chakras, we also have the 12 DNA strands. By activating each chakra, we will be activating one DNA strand. So in the course we have actually 4 meditations to activate each chakra, but it doesn't mean that in the first meditation you actually activate the DNA strand. Maybe it can take 3 meditations, it can take 4 meditations. It depends on your self-process. For example, I am actually still working in these meditations because I feel I need to be completely activated. So slowly you need to reinforce this process in you to repeat the meditations until you feel it's okay, this energy place, this chakra is actually activated. So let's jump to the next one. And this is a slowly process that it takes step by step. So it's like a stair until you get to the point. So this is basically how we connect into with our DNA strands, and how we will rescue our wisdom, our ancient wisdom, that is all these mixtures of alien races that we have, and that we have these abilities also. And the abilities is just all this process that we are happening to forget everything, to forget our origin, is to, after, once we remember and we reactivate everything again, we figure out that these powers is for the good and for the benefit of the humanity and the earth, not for the control and for the bad. So this is how we see in the school how it is, the spirituality. This is how we take the spirituality. So I don't know, I think this video is having a delay because I see myself still talking. But I want now to make a place for people that is watching. Maybe you have some queries, maybe you have some questions that I can solve. So I just want to open this space, this time for that, for the queries, for the questions, if you have some. I know for now it's few students in the in the Starseeds Fellowship, but slowly we will be getting more colleagues, so we can share a lot of knowledge. So okay, I believe there is no questions. Okay, so I hope I have been clear with that. I mean, again, I apologize for my English, and these late days I have been more in other languages, practicing in other languages, so I kind of need to train more the English. But anyway, I hope it has been a good class for you. I hope I have been clarified the the things about the positive and the negative races, and that you understand the importance of the activation of every chakra. So, our method in the fellowship school, in the Starseeds Fellowship, that is the activation of the 12 DNA strands through the 12 chakras. So I hope you understand the importance to have to perform this method, and that to understand that it takes some time, because it's not like suddenly that we make the consciousness sleep, but it's a process that requests us time and practice. It's like as everything. So anyway, since there is no questions, I think I will just um, finish the class for now. But in the next month we have a third class, and we will talk about different subjects. We will have a stage in the course that we will be performing meditations for the communication with the Egyptian aliens. That is really interesting because we have a lot of knowledge to take from the Egyptians, the temples, all the structure they left as a proof of their wisdom and technology, and that they left codes in each temple, so we can rescue and also activate the DNA strands through the connection with them. So it will be really fantastic to get into that point of the Egyptians. But as I said, it's like step by step. Before we get in connection with some alien, we need to be okay ourselves, prepare, because for any connection with any alien, we need to be prepared also. So step by step, but we get there, okay? So thank you so much for being watching this video. I hope we can spread also this video to many more people and that we get more colleagues. And remember that I remain at your disposal. You have my email, you have the social medias links also. If you have a query at any moment, you can post or you can send me an email. I will be more than happy to answer. Okay, so thank you so much and have a great new blue lunar storm year.